All right, awesome. I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to Brad for the last thing you said on stage was about sports, and here we are to talk about how Oracle is leveraging sports partnerships to create what we hope are unique and exciting, innovative fan experiences, and leveraging data to do so. So, loved hearing about sports betting. I think there's a really awesome opportunity there, but I'm going to share with you all a little bit more about mainly why Oracle thinks sports is interesting for enabling these customer experiences, these fan experiences, and talk about a little bit of the success that our partners are seeing in the realm of sport to closer connect to fans. At the end of the day, they want to monetize, just like you all do, and they want to create a closer connection that's sticky and keeps fans for a longer period of time. So, for those of you that don't know Formula One racing, this is Christian Horner, who leads the Oracle Red Bull Racing team. And he made a pretty bold statement when we announced our partnership. No other cloud company came close. Why would he say that? Why might the leader of a Formula One racing team say that Oracle's applications and suite of cloud services were unrivaled in the opportunity that he had to look at? And so what I want to talk about a little bit today is how they viewed, for those of you who know Red Bull Racing, they're a pretty innovative team. They do some pretty crazy stuff in their partnership with Red Bull. They've done a zero-gravity pit stop in a military plane. They are already innovating and creating close connection with their fans. But what they viewed in their partnership with Oracle was really an opportunity to go a level deeper, to better their team, to perform better on the track, and to create unique experiences for customers that brought them closer to the team, that built their base of fans, that made the interaction stickier, and that candidly provide opportunities that other teams in Formula One aren't delivering at this time. And so we had a real opportunity to show off what for Oracle has been a tradition of 44-ish years of already delivering this type of success for our customers, enabling these innovative experiences, but really focused in the enterprise arena. And what I like to share about Red Bull Racing is they're not just a Formula One racing team. They do a lot from their perspective that's very similar to what our customers are already doing today. They're a manufacturing company. They've started building their own engines for their Formula One car. They're one of the only teams, well, they're the only team that's not an auto manufacturer in Formula One, one of the few teams that are actually building their own engine. They're a retail organization. They want to sell more product and merchandise to their fans. They want to grow that fan base. They're an events and hospitality organization. They're wanting to build meaningful experiences to bring fans closer to the sport. And one of the goals that they stated with us was they wanted every one of their fans worldwide, about 100 million fans today, to know what it was like to come to a Formula One race without actually having to go. It's a pretty amazing experience. It's also very costly, and of the 100 million fans, probably very small percentages of them actually get to come to a race. So they reached out to us and asked, how can you enable this experience for us? How can we bring fans into the realm of enjoying sport, racing, in a way that they've never before experienced? And we built this on the backbone of much of the work that we've done in other enterprise areas, again, manufacturing, healthcare, retail, et cetera. And one of the reasons we love sport is that it allows us to tell these great stories about organizations who already have access to the single most important piece of information. They own the data. They are connected to the data. They have a wealth of data about their car, about their team, their organization, and their fans. What they wanted, what they needed help in enabling was the ability to unlock the potential of that data. So if you think about a team like Red Bull Racing, they have data coming off the car. They get 400 gigabytes of data every time the car goes around a track that they're having to manage. They're getting data when they put it on the testing machines at their corporate headquarters. They're getting information from fans who come to their website or to races. They have a lot of data and information. They needed help moving beyond simply managing the data to unlocking its potential, to finding new ways to connect with those fans and to bring them into experiences that really they hadn't ever before seen. And again, this is a racing company who has literally dropped their pit crew in planes to show off how they could do zero-gravity pit stops. So I love this quote by Christian, and he says it a lot. Data is the lifeblood of the team. How can we help them do more with it? I get a lot of opportunity as heading up the sports team, sports marketing organization at Oracle, to talk to many different sports organizations in North America and globally. We have partnerships with many global organizations. And I've heard recently in conversations, first, they're all interested in what more they can do with data. And what we've seen are there's two areas that really they believe helps them unlock what they can achieve for success in drawing fans, in creating unique experiences, and in differentiating themselves versus other teams or leagues globally. The first area is team performance. That's a really critical area, obviously. The teams want to be good. They want to develop their players well. And they want to run simulations because they don't have endless hours on the track or on the pitch. They have, in Formula One, for example, they actually run the car in the race about the same amount of time they practice that whole weekend. So how can they do more with the data they have and not have to run the car, be on the field practicing, be on the pitch, et cetera? And I'm seeing a lot of opportunity in new and unique ways to engage the fans. I love the last presentation that talked about a new way to reward artists by clapping. I think it's an amazing thing to think about. And I immediately thought of sports as we were watching that, because there is an engagement that is available for those sports organizations that they haven't seen to date. And we're hoping that we're helping to unlock a few of those for them that I'll explain to you in just a minute. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about how organizations are using the data directly to improve their performance as sports teams, as organizations. Now clearly, the better you perform, the more enticing your organization is to fans, right? Red Bull Racing have a phenomenal and rich history in Formula One. They've had a few years, for those of you who follow Formula One, Mercedes has been pretty dominant for the past few years. That seems to all be changing this year. They've had a really rich history in the sport, and they wanted to achieve a greater level of success, which I would argue they started to last year with one of their drivers, Max Verstappen, winning the World Championship, and they want to continue building on that. Again, I mentioned they don't have a lot of time and opportunity to put the car on the track. So one of the ways we enabled success for them was to take all of the data that they are pulling off of the car in practice sessions and in races. We actually pull about, it says thousands up there, they run 4 billion simulations per race weekend, and they're taking into account things like weather, pit strategy, tire strategy. Again, if any of you watch Formula One racing, you know that these strategic decisions, there's only a couple of opportunities when to best place them in the race, if you will. And it's a really important and critical time for them to differentiate versus the other teams and to essentially win the races. And so what we've done with them is built a massive Monte Carlo simulation. I'm not a technology expert per se, but I know that Monte Carlo simulations essentially allow you to run simulations and continue adding data and information that you're gathering about your race in this example, and to introduce some variables. What happens if the weather changes? If anyone watched this weekend, it was raining on Saturday in Italy. Sunday, they thought it was going to rain. It didn't. They changed tires because of it, et cetera. But it gives them the opportunity to do a couple of things that they haven't been able to do in the past. First of all, they can scale massively, right? This isn't a server in a closet that people will literally say, hey, I need to run some simulation on this weekend, and can I use it, et cetera. So they're able to scale massively. It's much more efficient, and the cost for doing this is much lower. They are managed by a cost cap in Formula One, so anywhere we can help them reduce cost creates a more efficient output for them and helps them manage more their operational budgets and produce more output for making the car faster at the end of the day. So this obviously, increasing their speed on the track and winning races helps them connect with fans. And we also have some other examples that I think have been really interesting about focusing, again, strictly on team performance. The Seattle Sounders FC, up in my neck of the woods, I'm based up in Seattle, came to us with a unique problem. Now, I'm no, you'll hear this a lot in this presentation, I'm no soccer expert. I know a little bit about it, and I call it football more than soccer now because we work with the Premier League as well. But there's something in the sport called line breaking, which is essentially forward passes by players that pass at least 2 defenders and thus increase your chances to score more greatly in the match. And so the Sounders came to us and said, hey, we've got a bunch of practice data and game data and video data, and we want to learn and understand more from that data and figure out basically 2 things. who on our team is really good at breaking lines, and where on the pitch are we doing the best to break lines and create scoring opportunities. So what we were able to do with them, with our platform and using our database systems, et cetera, was to create a solution that optimized their play on the pitch, their strategy for those games, and allowed them, they implemented it last year in the playoffs, ran through, they lost in the Cup Championship to Columbus, but they've had some real success applying our technology to the enablement of more efficient play on the pitch. Obviously, better output from their team, more exciting. They've had a lot of success as a soccer team, but it's enabling them to be higher in the standings, all of those sorts of things, and excite their fans as well. And last, I'll talk about our partnership with the Golden State Warriors. And I really love this partnership because it's really grown and developed into a technology-first partnership where we've built and enabled a dashboard for the Warriors to see in real time the scoring efficiency, shooting efficiency, et cetera, of their players, and to marry, this will sound crazy, but for the first time, to marry the data from practice that's collected by a third-party provider and the separate data that's collected from games by a different third-party provider into one output that the coaching staff is using to make decisions. Now look, you don't have to be a world-famous basketball coach to know to get Steph Curry the ball anywhere behind the three-point line to have success, but they have a young team, a developing team, and for the Warriors, who are making a pretty strong playoff run here after missing out for 2 years, it's been critically important for them, and with this model and what we've built with them, essentially using our AI and machine learning tools, what we've enabled for them is two things. They built a shooting committee, so they have a basketball operations team who's focused on enhancing what happens on the court with the team, who should shoot where, how do they run their offense, where should plays be run. But the more exciting thing that we've heard is that it's actually created amongst the players a little bit of a competition around who's doing better, who's shooting better, who's on the hot streak, et cetera. And so we've had a fun time with the Warriors in enabling this and making it much more simple for the coaching staff to view this data, to see it in one place, and to make decisions on their team. So that gives you a little bit of background of some of the complex technical work we've done on our cloud to enable success with the sports teams. But really, this event and sort of the theme is a little bit more focused on direct fan experience. And we've had some opportunity to really dive into fan experience with our partners. And so, you know, we believe that we have an opportunity to enable this unrivaled experience for organizations who already have passionate fan bases, who are deeply engaged and can create differentiation and innovation with those fans. And so, you know, you look at someone like a Red Bull Racing or the Warriors, they're already doing a lot of work to build and create unique fan experiences. What they're not able to do without our partnerships is to pull data together in ways that meaningfully allow them to create actionable output from it, right? You can run any sort of a fan experience day and collect who was there, et cetera. But if you're not taking that data and doing some really meaningful, thoughtful machine learning, AI work, et cetera, on the output that could potentially enhance that experience, you're really leaving some things on the table. And so I love the work we've done with a couple of the partners in this space, and they're very unique in different ways to bring fans, customers, into an experience, to give them something unique that they couldn't get with another sport or another team, and we hope attract and create more stickiness with those fans. And so Oracle Red Bull Racing has really been a model for us in how we think about data-driven fan experiences. You have to do a couple of things along the way, and I came from my previous company, talked a lot about these virtuous flywheels of how you continue to engage your customers or fans, and you pull them more closely in, and you gather feedback from them, and you use that output to make better decisions to keep them coming back and to increase monetization, et cetera. And so we looked at how Red Bull thought about the fans and what they wanted to achieve in reaching out to us to enable. So the first thing they wanted to do was to attract new fans. Obviously, for any organization, especially in sports, attracting new fans is a key to your long-term success, right? Do you get them younger? Do you get them, you know, do you grow in new regions, et cetera? The sport of Formula One has had significant growth here in the North American market over the past few years. I think single-handedly thanks to Netflix and the Drive to Survive show, but they've seen some pretty phenomenal growth. And there is attraction happening around them and by the work that they're doing. But they also want, they need to capture those fans. They want to register them and deliver a personalized experience. They want to be able to engage them in meaningful ways that are unique and interesting and innovative, but also create then that retention that they're looking for. Most importantly, they want fans to go out and advocate for their team, their solutions, what they're providing. And one of the most fun parts of my job is to go share with people a bit of information about the loyalty program that we've launched with Red Bull, and to try to get people to sign up and to see if we can get more points and et cetera. And so how do you turn your fans into advocates of your brand and help you grow your experience organically? So with Red Bull Racing, we helped them last October launch the Paddock, which is, I would say, a world-class experience platform, launched just ahead of the race in Austin, Texas last year, the end of October, and delivered on, I think, many of those goals that they were trying to achieve when you think about attracting and retaining new fans and customers at the end of the day. The first and most exciting part of it is that there's no friction to sign up, right? You basically enter your email and that's it. It's free. It doesn't cost money to be part of their program. You're literally a fan sharing in your experience with others. And so there's no barrier of getting folks to, where am I based and what's my address and zip code and all of this PCI information that most folks will run away from. The second thing it delivers is a personalized experience based on what I'm interested in. They've got 2 drivers. Sean is a peer member of our team who I'm going to need to talk to because he's got a ton more lifetime points than I do. So apparently he's been spending a lot more time in the paddock than I have, so maybe that's on me, actually. I don't need to talk to him. But basically, Sean has said Max Verstappen is his favorite driver. He's chosen the number that you see on the screen there, number 1. That's the number that Max is racing with this year. Only one driver, the world champion, can use number 1, and he chose to use it this year. And it has a very minimal amount of information, but what it mostly delivers is personalized content, consumable content, unique for Sean based on his likes. Might be some Max Verstappen content in there. There's team content. There's interviews with Christian Horner. But it's personalized based on what Sean has said in 3 or 4 clicks he actually wants to see and hear from the Oracle Red Bull Racing team. I love this because you collect points. I love the claps, points, same thing. You collect points for the more you engage, right? You take a quiz, you watch some video content, you join a live stream of an interview from a race, and you're collecting points that at the end of the day you can then use for merchandise and money can't buy experiences, if you will. When the world gets more right, later this year we hope, fans who accumulate enough points will be able to go to a race and meet the drivers. They can already gain access to signed memorabilia, shirts, hats, etc. All of this simply by more deeply interacting with the content platform that they're building to create success with their fans. We heard gamification in the last presentation, same thing. We're gamifying this experience, making it unique and fun for the fans, and delivering these experiences to them that they couldn't otherwise get. And this goes right to what Red Bull Racing wanted to achieve when they reached out to us and how we could enable this success for them. They want to get back to the fans. They want the paddock, for those of you if you've been to a Formula One race, the paddock is the exclusive area kind of behind the scenes where you're closer to the racetrack, you're closer to the team, etc. They're able to deliver this unique experience via their website by building and enabling with tools that we've partnered with, and grow in partnership their success in both attracting and retaining those key customers and fans. Well, we're not just doing this on the web or through an app, etc. We're also enabling this experience in our partnership with the Premier League. If you're a fan of sport and you watch any sports here in North America, it's not surprising to you to see integrated, enhanced analytics in broadcast. I was watching the Sunday night baseball game last night, the Phillies game, and they 5 or 6 times had a branded integration in there talking about advanced analytics powered by a cloud provider. And so for us here in North America, NFL does it, NHL is starting to do a little bit more. we're not surprised by this experience. And as fans, we're accustomed to it, we're ready for it, and we know how to interact with and consume that. But the Premier League were very much not at the point of being technically and sort of experientially ready to deliver that to their fans. If you watch Premier League soccer at all, what you see is a very clean experience. There's not a lot on the screen. They don't want to mess with that experience. Fans come to watch the game. They don't come to see, you see a lot of advertisement, but they don't come to see the advertisement, and they don't want to be overwhelmed with these types of branded integrations. They certainly don't want it to feel like it's a blatant advertisement, if you will, in the middle of their of the match. And so the Premier League looked to Oracle to identify how to build upon success that had been created in North America and with other sports organizations, to bring fans closer to the game and to engage them at a new level. And whether you're a fan who's an avid fan who go and look at the stats after the game and you know all about, you know, attacking threats and win probabilities, et cetera, or if you're just a casual fan and you want some enhancement to that experience, the Premier League were at a point where they were ready to lean on a partner to say, how do we build something that can be easily consumable, can be interesting to a fan, and we hope can enable something more unique when it comes to being a part of this experience of watching our matches. And so we had the great opportunity this year to launch the first ever enhanced analytics in their broadcast and to partner with organizations across the globe to put these branded analytics in broadcast, and again, we hope, make a cooler experience as you're watching these matches. And we started with three. Three seemed a good number, excuse me, that we could introduce, that we'd be able to, you know, share with the fans on why they were meaningful and what value they were going to add to the broadcast, and also didn't make it too overwhelming for the talent. You know, one of the secrets to success on building exciting analytics is to gain the buy-in of the talent who are having to read it. Whether, you know, you're the Chris Collinsworth on the NFL or Smoltz and crew with Major League Baseball, if they're not bought into and don't understand these analytics, it doesn't do you much good because they're just not going to lean into them. And fortunately, the league was able to push that. So I'll talk about the three things that we built with them and how it's helped to enable a more banter and interaction from the fans as they've watched the broadcast. Some of these are pretty obvious. Obviously, as fans of sport here in North America, we all know what win probability is, right? How likely is either team to win the match at this given point in time based on the data we know and the last 4 years of data that we've collected about how this team performs in general, right? So we're crunching about 4 years worth of data, simulating the match roughly 1,000 times and creating an output that says at any moment, this team has a 70-so-odd% chance of winning the match. Now, it may not be very interesting if it's, you know, Chelsea and Watford. You probably get that Chelsea are going to be a heavy favorite from a win probability perspective. Where I've found it personally interesting as a fan is to see when it doesn't work, actually, to see when it shows that one club should really be favored in a matchup, and that doesn't happen. And that's where you see fans getting on social and having a banter. Oh, you know, Chelsea was favored 94%. They were supposed to win this match, and we won, et cetera. And so we're creating something unique for them to talk about, to stand at the water cooler on Monday mornings and share, and to begin dialogues around that they were able to pull from the match as they were enjoying it without being, I hope, too intrusive in doing so. We also introduced attacking threat, which I like because I'm not an avid follower of soccer, so I don't really know. It's kind of, think of it as momentum, if you will, sort of who at that moment is most likely to score, so it gives fans an idea maybe of who's hot or who's not right now, or maybe your club's down a goal, but they're you know, 80% in an attacking threat, so they're really likely to score a goal in the next 10 seconds or in the future part of the game. And then average position has been one that we've actually helped the league use out of broadcast more in social, because it's a pretty heavy graphic intense stat that we're using. But it's, again, engage that social commentary around where did my team play on average? Were we more defensive in our posture, more offensive? And it's brought this experience to fans that we hope, again, has sort of gently brought in analytics to the match and not destroyed their experience of watching the sport too much. And so we've had a really fun time sort of thinking about those and thinking about what next year will look like as we expand on the opportunity to deliver these exciting fan experiences through the broadcast. The last one I'll talk about, and then I'll ask if there's any questions, is our partnership with SailGP. Are any of you familiar with SailGP, the sailing organization? No? And a couple hands. Well, you better know, Jeff, what they are. I see a hand back there. Awesome. It's all Oracle people that raise their hands, I realize. I'm doing my job well, at least there. So SailGP is a professional yachting organization, and I had the opportunity to go to the yacht races in San Francisco last month. And I have to say, it's a pretty exciting sport if you get the opportunity to engage with it, which they've created a really cool engagement platform for. It's really fun to watch, and you don't need to know a whole lot about it except that the fastest boat wins. So there's two unique things about SailGP as an organization I'll share, and then I'll talk about what we built from a fan perspective. One, all the boats are the same. So while in Formula One in general, the cars currently today are moderately similar, they get updated and modified quite a bit by the teams. And in any sport, usually the equipment is a little bit different by team. They have the same boat, so it comes down to kind of human decision making. Where's the best line for the wind and most optimal course line, et cetera. And then the second piece is it's an open data platform. So every one of the teams gets every boat's data and information. And then it truly does become a human-driven experience and who's making the best decision with that data. And so essentially what we've built with SailGP is an experience where you'll see a race here and you'll see someone watching on a mobile phone in real time through the SailGP app. Now something happens in this race that isn't really good when you're sailing, and I'll let it come to that in just a bit. But what you see on the right, through the app, are unique camera, we're streaming unique camera video angles for them. We're pulling actual data, so the British boat capsizes here, and no one has ever won a race that capsized, I'm told. We're streaming live data, the same data that the boat teams are getting at the same time, and we've allowed for the customer, the fan, to personalize this experience in ways that's unique for them in a couple of ways, and I'll show you. First, we've allowed them to essentially say, hey, I'm watching this, and I know the races have already occurred, so I don't want to have spoilers, for example. I want to change the layout of my screen because I want more video screens and less data, and I want to pick my favorite team. That's a very obvious one. But fans are able to, in their hand, have this second screen experience, which we really believe is kind of the future of sports engagement and fan experiences overall, and customize and create their own unique experience. And it's a really exciting and engaging way to experience this sport. So again, if you haven't watched, it's a very fun sport to watch, especially when you have this enablement. So I'll wrap, and then I have about a minute with just a quote from Oliver Hughes, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Red Bull Racing. And I think this basically summarizes how we want to think about our partnerships and sports and journeys that we are creating to enable fan experiences. Again, we're working with world-class and amazing sports organizations who are already doing phenomenal work, and we think that our platform, technology, tools, and services, and our thought leadership is going to enable even more for them. So with that, I think I've got maybe a minute if there's a question or two, and I'll wrap it up with that. Yes, all of we've got esports partnerships, we're in games, we're working with video streaming providers. We view sports as being a great platform for storytelling because of its reach and breadth, and the Premier League will be watched by billions of people worldwide, but we are absolutely enabling these. The sports is a showcase to show what we can do and then enable through other verticals and categories and partnerships as well. Excellent, thank you all.